Most health advice sounds certain until you look at what the research actually measures, instead of what people think it means. Health science is full of strong claims. Carbs make you fat. Fat burning starts after 30 minutes. Eating late destroys your metabolism. Sweating means fat loss. Supplements fix everything. The list is endless. The problem is not that health science is wrong. The problem is that it gets simplified into rules that sound absolute, even though the human body does not work in absolutes. Your biology is a system. Systems respond to context, not slogans. That is why so many health myths feel true in some situations, partially true in others, and completely wrong in controlled research. Let's break down what science actually shows underneath the most common health myths. Myth 1: carbs automatically make you fat. This is one of the most widespread beliefs in nutrition. It sounds simple. Eat carbs, gain fat. Avoid carbs, lose fat. But research does not support this as a universal rule. Carbohydrates are a normal energy source for the body. They are broken down into glucose and used for immediate energy, or stored as glycogen in muscles and the liver. Fat gain happens when total energy intake consistently exceeds energy expenditure over time, not when a specific food is eaten. Studies comparing low-carb and high-carb diets show something important. When calories and protein are matched, fat loss is very similar across both approaches. That means carbohydrate intake alone does not determine fat gain. However, carbs can influence behavior. Highly processed carbohydrates are easy to overeat, less filling, and often combined with fats and sugars. This increases total calorie intake indirectly, which is where the confusion comes from. So, the real truth is simple. Carbs do not automatically cause fat gain. Excess calories do. Myth 2: fat burning starts after a specific time, like 30 minutes. This myth comes from misunderstanding how fuel usage works during exercise. Your body does not switch from no fat burning to fat burning at a specific minute. Fat oxidation is happening all the time, even when you are resting. What changes during exercise is fuel proportion. At lower intensity, the body uses more fat proportionally. At higher intensity, it uses more carbohydrates because they provide faster energy. Over time, longer activity may increase total fat contribution, but there is no biological timer where fat burning suddenly begins. Short workouts still burn calories. Long workouts burn more total energy. But the idea of a fat-burning switch after a fixed duration is not supported by physiology. What matters in research is total weekly energy expenditure and consistency, not arbitrary time thresholds. Myth 3: eating frequently boosts metabolism. This idea suggests that eating every few hours keeps your metabolism active and prevents fat gain. It sounds logical because digestion uses energy. This is called the thermic effect of food. But the total effect over a day is the same regardless of how meals are divided when total calories are equal. Whether you eat 2 meals or 6 meals, your total daily energy burn does not significantly change in controlled studies. What actually drives metabolism is muscle mass, physical activity, overall energy balance, sleep quality. Meal frequency is mostly a preference factor. Some people feel better eating often. Others perform better with fewer meals. But metabolism itself is not meaningfully boosted by eating more frequently. Myth 4: eating late at night causes weight gain. This is one of the most misunderstood ideas in nutrition. Fat gain is determined by total energy balance over time, not clock time. Your body does not store food differently at night. However, late night eating can indirectly influence weight because behavior changes. People tend to choose higher calorie foods at night. Self-control is often lower when tired. Sleep quality may be disrupted after heavy meals. Emotional eating is more common at night. So while timing itself is not the cause, patterns associated with late eating can increase calorie intake. Research shows that when calories are controlled, meal timing alone has minimal effect on fat loss. Myth 5. Sweating means you are burning. Fat sweating is not a fat loss signal. It is a cooling mechanism. Your body sweats to regulate temperature, not to remove fat. Sweat rate depends on heat, humidity, genetics, clothing, fitness adaptation. You can sweat heavily without burning many calories, and you can burn significant calories without sweating much. Fat loss comes from metabolic processes and energy balance, not fluid loss. This myth persists because sweating feels like effort, but effort and fat loss are not the same physiological process. Myth 6. Supplements can replace a bad diet. Supplements are often marketed as shortcuts to health. In reality, they are designed to fill gaps, not replace foundations. Some supplements have strong evidence in specific contexts. Vitamin D for deficiency, omega-3 for dietary gaps, protein powder for convenience. But no supplement can override poor sleep, chronic overeating, sedentary lifestyle, highly processed diets. The body does not respond to isolated nutrients in the same way it responds to long-term behavioral patterns. Health is built from systems, not pills. Myth 7. You can target fat loss in specific areas. Spot reduction is the idea that exercising a body part reduces fat in that exact area. Research consistently shows this is not how fat loss works. Fat loss is systemic. The body decides where fat is mobilized based on genetics, hormonal signals, overall energy balance. Exercise strengthens specific muscles, but it does not control where fat is burned from. For example, abdominal exercises strengthen core muscles, but do not directly remove belly fat. Different people lose fat in different patterns, but the process is whole body, not localized. Myth 8. More exercise always means better results. Exercise is essential for health, but more is not always better. Beyond a certain point, excessive exercise can increase fatigue, raise stress hormones, reduce recovery, lower consistency. The body responds best to sustainable training that can be repeated consistently over time. Research shows that moderate, regular exercise produces better long-term results than extreme routines that lead to burnout or injury. Fitness is not about maximum effort. It is about repeatable effort. The real pattern behind all these myths. When you step back and look at all these health myths together, a clear pattern starts to appear. They all come from the same fundamental mistake: turning a complex, adaptive biological system into a set of simple, fixed rules. The human body does not operate like a rule book, where one action always produces one predictable outcome. It behaves more like an interconnected system, where multiple variables are constantly interacting at the same time. Nothing works in isolation. Every input affects several outputs, and every output feeds back into the system again. That is why human biology is not rule-based. It is system-based. Your body is constantly trying to maintain balance across multiple layers at once: energy intake and energy output, which determine long-term weight trends; hormonal regulation, which influences hunger, fat storage, mood, and recovery; sleep cycles, which control repair, cognitive function, and metabolic stability; nervous system activity, which affects stress levels, performance, and energy use behavioral patterns, which shape every consistent choice you make over time. None of these systems operate independently. They continuously influence each other in subtle but powerful ways. A change in sleep affects hormones. Hormones affect appetite. Appetite affects energy intake. Energy intake affects metabolism. Metabolism affects energy levels again. It is a loop, not a straight line. This is why single-factor thinking in health is so misleading. A single meal, a single workout, or a single habit rarely determines an outcome on its own. What actually matters is how that action fits into the larger pattern of behavior over weeks, months, and years. This is also why so many different approaches can all appear to work. Different diets can produce results. Different training styles can build fitness. Different eating schedules can support fat loss or maintenance. On the surface, these methods often contradict each other, yet they still lead to success in different contexts. The reason is simple. The system is flexible, not rigid. What matters most is not the specific method, but whether the overall pattern creates a consistent balance between input, output, recovery, and adaptation. When that balance is maintained, the body adjusts accordingly, regardless of the exact strategy being used. Final understanding. Health myths feel convincing because they reduce complexity into simple answers. But the real science shows something different. There are very few universal rules in health. What matters instead is long-term consistency, energy balance over time, quality of sleep and recovery, muscle maintenance and movement, sustainable habits. Once you understand this, health stops being a set of strict rules and becomes a system you can actually work with. Real progress does not come from extreme hacks. It comes from understanding how your body responds over time and building habits that match that reality. If this helped you see through common health myths, subscribe, like, and comment science for more evidence-based breakdowns. Because real health is not about following rules, it is about understanding how your body actually works.